welcome back. I'm the founder of Fashion Illustration Tribe, if you don't already know me. It's an online fashion design and illustration school. So today's video, I'm going to show you my most recent illustration and give you some insight into how it came about. It incorporates skills that I use in some of my programs. So one of them is iPad illustration, but I also teach gouache and pencil illustration. I just want you to know that. So today's illustration is using Adobe Draw app, and I'll give you some insights into how that happens. I also have a program called Model Magic that focuses entirely on model drawing, which is like core for fashion illustrations, really great skill to have. But also for art in general, model drawing is a really deep way to explore your art supplies and to tap into the expressions of the body, to get in touch with your own feelings coming through in your art. And the human form is a great tool for just a subject. If you love that subject, a course like my Model Magic course is about taking your art supplies and exploring them through exploring the figure and the poses, expressions of the body. Another great part of that course is that it uses timed poses, much like a live model drawing class would do, so that you can dive into capturing a pose and then let it go in just a few minutes or a few seconds and not get too attached to the outcome, but actually dive into the experience of expressing what you see. The other thing that you will see exhibited in today's video, and I promise we'll get right to the video, is fashion design. So I'm going to talk more about it during the video, but the model's wearing a dress that is striped. Striped fashions are so good for students if you're a fashion design student. Even a fashion illustration student, fashion illustration is so much about telling stories about the clothes. The more you can understand the clothes, the more you see what's going on in the clothes, the more you have to say in that illustration. So because I'm a designer, I also like to show what's going on in the clothes. Because I also teach pattern making and draping, I like to show what's going on in the garments. So in this particular garment, you'll see that she's wearing a dress. It's a straight grain bustier dress and skirt. Straight grain means that the stripe goes straight down center front, straight down the bodice, straight down the skirt. You can see the stripe. That stripe would run parallel to the selvage on the garment when it's on the bolt. And that you can see there's a dart going from the waist up into the bust. That's how she gets the fitted bust on the dress. But then you'll see that all of the ruffles and sleeves and the hem of the skirt are not cut on straight grain. They're cut on circular, almost like donut-shaped pieces of fabric, so that they create flares and ruffles, but without creating gathers. So this is stuff we talk more about in my design and illustration classes or in my Freedom Fashion program, which includes all of the courses. I'll tell you more about that later. Let's get into the video today, and I'll just point out some key things. My goal is that you'll be inspired to sketch garments, to learn more about fashion clothes, and also to explore iPad illustration. If you don't use iPad or tablet, don't worry, because you can still do the same things on paper. My core Freedom Fashion program focuses completely on paper. I believe that I love digital illustration with iPad and stuff, but everything I do on there started in the experience of working on paper. So I invite you to that lush experience in Freedom Fashion, and I invite you to join me today to imagine what your capability, what your creativity is capable of. If you feel that you're not, I promise you that the skills of drawing are the simple part. That's just like a thing. Those are the videos that I've created that you can just watch. What's going to make the big difference is what you believe about how art happens. which Model Magic course really undoes for you. How art happens, who you are as a creator, and what you need to be creative. When you change those beliefs, your skills improve. Even without changing the skills, it's about engaging in the skills while changing the beliefs at the same time. It's hard to change the beliefs fundamentally without being in the act of creating. So the courses are like the food, the skills are put out there. Every lesson has an exercise, but then the way it's taught and the one-on-one sessions with me or group sessions or the way you interact with me in the private course areas, we work through your beliefs that are holding you back, that are making you think you can't do it, that are judging you and thus holding you back, restricting your energy. We create an atmosphere of encouragement, love, and knowing, and act from that place. Drawing will bring up your insecurities. Drawing will bring up your fears. Drawing will make you ask yourself, oh my gosh, what made me think I could do this? But on the other side of all that, when we tap back into what brought you here in the first place, why you want to learn these things, why you love these things, who you are, the journey through the ugliness of your beginning drawing is also a journey of self-love and self-knowledge and expansion into a greater knowing of the self, which then will bring you to deeper expressions, more dynamic expressions. And I can't wait to do this with you. That's a really long intro, but that's who I am. This is who you are. If you're still here, then you are definitely in the right place. Let's go. So there are a lot of great apps you can use on iPad, iPad mini, iPad Pro, or other digital devices. But today I'm using iPad Pro with Apple Pencil, which gives a little bit of extra sensitivity to the lines. But I just use a simple pen tool that I adjust from thin, light lines to heavy, dark lines, just all with the same exact tool. All I do is adjust the size of the tip of it, and I adjust the size of the opacity, the lightness or sheerness or opacity of it. So you can see that some of the lines I'm using are ultra thin, ultra fine, and the others are quite thick and dark. And it's this contrast that is so beautiful. You know, even the stripe in this dress had some stripes were thinner and some were thicker, some were lighter, some were darker. It was really fun to play up that pattern and to really pay attention to the grain of the fabric, where the straight grain stripes are happening, and then where the flares or circular, the pattern of the stripe got all, tossed into different directions. Stuff like that can be really overwhelming if you think about it's good to be aware of, but it can be a lot to think about. So working from a photograph is great because you can just keep referencing back to your photo to notice where the print is, what's happening with it. I tried to keep this one really organic in feeling. So if you watch other videos of mine here on YouTube or in the courses, you'll know that I usually do a soft, light sketch behind my finished drawing. I call it the under sketch. But today I knew that I wanted to go directly to line, freehand line, which is an exercise that I do sometimes because it makes me commit. I don't erase unless it's a dire emergency. So in an exercise like today's, every single time I'm putting my pen down, I'm committing to the drawing, kind of with a no turning back type of attitude. And I love to do that sometimes and just see what happens. This is the photograph that inspired the illustration, and I just think it's really fun to reference back so you can see that. Here's one more quick replay so you can kind of bear in mind what happened. Notice how I use darker lines for edges of things than I do for individual stripes. That can be really helpful too. I hope you'll check out the links below. Subscribe, click the little bell so you get updates. Down below are the links to my website and all the courses.